Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. Oh my goodness. I'm getting ready to go to a music festival and I am poked, right? It is in that movement forward that we get a lot of insights, a lot of experience, and we might not think that we're doing anything for ourselves except entertaining ourselves, possibly. But it is in showing that we want to be here. And that's the truth. I think that's all that is expected of us in the end. I think I was invited to this party because of my enthusiasm for life, for being up for a challenge, a new experience, a new adventure, right? Sometimes and experience things that are not fun, right? But it has to get done because if it doesn't get done, there isn't anything to accomplish in that. There is no reward, there's no end game, no trophy, no gold medal. And that's the truth. Life is an adventure. What is that saying that Forrest Gump says? Life is like a box of chocolates, right? Every chocolate that you pick out of that box is going to have a different taste. And what just came to my mind there is when somebody in my family at the Christmas birthdays, there's always a box of chocolates flying around, eh? And everybody picks their favorite. And for me, those orange cream chocolates are absolutely everything. And they are the least favorite of everybody in my family. But I love those orange creams, right? And I'm so grateful for that because it's my experience, it's my taste, right? And we all are uniques, and we have that responsibility to ourselves to be that unique. I don't ever want to be that person that follows the leader, right? You know, I am my own person, and I'm very grateful that I have that prerogative to do so. We all have that prerogative, but we know sometimes when we go down those side branches or in that fork in the road where everybody's going this way, that we decide to go this way. Sometimes it takes a little bit of courage to do that because you're outing yourself, right? And people don't recognize that you're not meaning to say, I don't like you. I don't want to travel with you. I don't believe in your ideas or in your actions, right? It only means that I believe in mine, right? I'm taking my piece of the pie and I don't want to hang out with people and do things that maybe I'm not interested in. Maybe it's not my flavor. Maybe it isn't my orange cream chocolate. And that's okay. And that's okay for everybody. You guys can all fight off over that hazelnut dark chocolate, right? That my whole family just loves that hazelnut, the dark chocolate. And you get two of them in a chocolate box. And if there's like six people all going for that chocolate, it can become a battle. It can come a little bit of resentment, right? Sneakiness, a little bit of tit for tat for taking that chocolate. And yet, right? I go for that orange cream that nobody wants except for me. And everybody's perfectly happy on the norm that I'm choosing that chocolate, right? I like to go down side branches. I like to be my own person. I want to live my life the way that I want to live my life. And yes, sometimes it can be uncomfortable because people feel that you know, you're not following the rules. That maybe you're not being a team player. And that's not the truth. That's not necessarily the truth. Lots of times I'm overcompensating for the life that I live. Lots of times I'm making sacrifices, right? I'm struggling a little bit to go down this road. I don't even know what's down this road. Yet everybody's going down this road. This is the road that everybody's been going down for thousands of years, hundreds of years, right? They know that route. They know every tree, every building, right? Every village, maybe the villagers. For myself, I love new experiences, unique adventures, different landscapes, right? And I have to say, sometimes different struggles and different problems, because in having different struggles and different problems, hi Tammy, I see you there, dear. Having different struggles and different problems, it offers up an opportunity to learn something new. And that's the truth. I grumble and complain sometimes that change is not comfortable. But I agree, change is not comfortable. But it doesn't mean that I don't welcome change into my life. Because if I didn't welcome change into the life, I wouldn't have the life that I have. And yes, for some people, you go, oh my goodness, you think that's something? Again, that's my route. That's the choices that I make, right? I'm a unique, just like everybody else, right? Here's an example. I'm getting right into the card right away, you guys. I'm going to grab them while I'm telling this little story. When I never grew up and had children, I did have that opportunity to get married, but I never had a children. I never had my own family. And, all my girlfriends, they all got married, had boyfriends sometimes, had babies. And I found it just the boringest thing ever to hang out with my friends after that. It didn't mean that I didn't care for them. It didn't mean that I didn't have any commonalities anymore. It just seemed that every time I was hanging out with them, they were talking about babies and cooking and daycare and taking care of their husbands. Where I was wandering down trails and camping and urban exploring and right? Just doing things that I liked. It didn't mean that I didn't care for them anymore. It just seemed that I wasn't growing when I was with them because they were growing in a different way than I was, right? Change is important for each and one of us. But lots of us, most of us, we do the follow the leader thing, right? And it's important, you know, especially in this day and age, to take your piece of the pie because as a small man, you can be seen, you can be heard, you have a voice, and we all have thoughts, we all have understandings that are just ours. And sometimes we feel that what's the point of saying anything? You're just going to be shut down. Nobody cares, right? But you care, right? So if you've got something to say, if there's something you want to do, you set those goals, you you build in your imagination those dreams and possibilities and you move towards them. And if people want to follow you, so be it, right? But these are your goals, your dreams, and you're creating them the way that you want to create them. I'm going off camping. I won't be here for a few days, you guys. So Thursday and Friday, I'm I won't be doing my live shows probably unless they have some Wi-Fi, but I'm going to be way out in the country, so I'm going to assume that I'm not going to be able to connect to the Wi-Fi. So most likely I won't be going live, but I will be back on Sunday night, and right, I will be editing videos. So next Sunday maybe we'll do a premiere, right? And but change is always present, and it's up to us to decide whether just to, right, sit back and hang out with everybody else and just live vicariously through those television shows that you watch, right, and daydream, but you're not doing anything about it, right? You're just living vicariously through somebody else's life. And I would love to live vicariously through my own experience. And I'm pretty excited to have the opportunity to go off for a few days. I need it, in all honesty, right? If nothing else, just in that pursuit of something different. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that. I always see you when you come in out of the corner of my eye. But lots of times when I'm in that flow, it just kind of, right, distracts for a moment. And I have to find the perfect moment to come in and say hello. But once in a while, just take a breath and just recognize that you're here. And I appreciate that you're hanging out with me. You guys, we're going to get into the card right off the hop. If you didn't know, I am actually pulling the card in the beginning of my life rather than at the end of my life, and I'm trying to stay with the powerful word. It is in that practice that we get better. It's in that consistency of showing up that in the beginning, sometimes it's messy. Quite often it is. But it is in that resilience to keep coming in and trying because you recognize it's time for a little bit of change. When things get comfortable, that's the best time to expand a little bit because that comfortable means you got that down packed, right? You got that down packed. So it's time to do a little bit of something new. And what we're doing, it's only a little something new. But in that little something new, it's going to help me to expand. It's going to help me to stay on topic and to delve into these powerful words more than the few minutes that I've been allotting them at the end of each of my lives, my podcasts, right? So this is the idea, to come in and get right into it. Getting better. I'm 5 minutes into my, 10 minutes into my live already. Here we go, you guys. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hello, Eugene. I hope you're doing good tonight, too. Thank you so much for asking. You're always so sweet when you come in here and you ask after us. Okay, you guys, here's the powerful word. It's always the first thought, first perspective. That's where I start. Where I end up, I have no idea. But I'm going to try and stay on the topic. Again, it is in that consistency that we get better at what we do. Okay, you guys, the word we have tonight is ooh, a little pertinent to the conversation. You guys, we got the word courage tonight. Courage is trusting yourself more than the doubt in the moment. And that's the truth. This is why I decided to pull these cards, right? In the beginning of my life, because I have to have that trust and courage in myself that I can stay on topic. I come in here, I can spiel, I can get into the flow, right? I've been doing this for so long, it's become comfortable for me. But these 54 powerful words are powerful words. And I created this deck for a reason because they are powerful. They're meant to impact, right? At first, they were meant to impact me in a way that I could delve into these words and see how they relate in my own life. And how could I reach out and be more courageous in what I do? Or in any one of these words that I pull out of this deck? How can I make it more relevant in my life? And also at the same time, trusting that these 54 words came into my life for a reason. And I was giving it some thought before I decided that I was going to pull the card at the beginning of my live show rather than at the end because I recognized that I would go into the flow as soon as I came in, right? Those other parts of me come to the surface, but it was in that collaboration and in that partnership with myself that it was an in and an out. It was an ebb and a flow. It was Cindy popping in, those other parts of me popping in, and just playing in the conversation and weaving in and out and wandering, right? Because you know Cindy loves the side branches, right? Cindy loves the side branches. But the courage is to stay in that one word because I recognize I go into that flow and I talk for like an hour. And then at the end of that hour, I would pull a powerful word and I would go into that word for 2 minutes, right? How can I become, I'm not going to say expert, but how about if I say familiar and knowledgeable and feel that it's actually impacting me the way that I want it to impact me? Those couple of minutes at the end of each live, it just wasn't enough. Yes, it was the first perspective and the first thought that came into my mind, but I was only giving it a sentence or two. And yet it was the main word in my thumbnail. And I knew people were hanging out with me for that entire hour and thinking, where does this word come in? Right? How does this word come in? She's talking about this, right? And yes, there's usually lots of underlining conversations within the conversation. It is in that polymath that I am, right? And I feel that everything that we do is a connection with each other, a connection with our environment, a connection to the past, the present, the future, the possibilities, the choices, the change, the riding the waves, the adapt and conquer, that it is all connected in a way. right? And I have to trust that these 54 words came to me for a reason. And I truly believe it was to keep me on track because I am such a polymath, right? And a polymath, if you don't know what that is, it's somebody who finds the connections between everything and everything. It's why I go down side branches, because I can trail off into something when an idea hits me within an idea, right? And those two ideas synthesize, and I go off in a direction and saying, these are so connected. Where does this attach to? Where does this belong? Where does this idea hit? And then I come up with something else. And it is in that experience that I find that quite often I have difficulties in staying in just the word courage. And so I thought that if I brought the cards to the beginning of my life and tried to stay with that word, right? Whatever it was, that it would impact me in a way that it would give me that actually courage and that confidence to understand that I could do it, right? That was the point of putting this deck together so that I could absorb these powerful words in different perspectives. So I'm still using that essence of me of being a polymath, right? I'm still using that essence, but I'm using it in a way where I'm still sticking to the powerful word that I'm pulling out of that deck. But I'm nervous, right? Because I feel I'm being put in the spot. Lots of times when I come in and I go in the flow, right? It takes me a few minutes and I get comfortable within the live. And once I'm comfortable, then it's no problem to pull a card because I know I'll only go into it for a couple of minutes and the point will be made. The perspective is there. I'll share it and I'll end my life, right? But I'm not making that absorption for myself. I'm not proving to myself that I can stay with the word, that the word that's actually on that thumbnail, which is meant to impact somebody, that it actually has an opportunity to do that. And that's where the courage comes in because it is in the consistency, right? Of just showing up and trying. And it's going to take some time, right? Because in that moment of pulling the card, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. And I committed to doing this, right? And change is always inevitable. I will be adding and subtracting in my lives and in my podcasts, always, right? But it will always be to the benefit of my movement, right? And optimistically, others' movement. Because if they see that I could just pull a card, right? And it's uncomfortable. What if I come in, I pull that card and I'm just blank, right? I'm just blank. That would be, I'm not good. Well, maybe a little bit embarrassing. Maybe a little bit, right? But that's the thing. It's okay to fail in what we do. We're just going to come right back in and try again with the next word. And eventually, I will have these words down packed, right? Down packed in a way that the next time I pull this word, it will be in a different perspective, in a different landscape with a different understanding, a different audience, a different need, right? And that's the idea, because that's the evidence for other people to trust in their process, right? In their movement. Yeah, kind of like what I was saying today, about that fork in the road and going off in a direction where everybody else is going this way and we go this way, right? It's just about making that choice and committing to it and walking down a path where you don't have company, right? It can be a little uncomfortable in that. But when you have that silence, the beautiful, new, different landscapes, people who come across your path, right? Man, that's everything. That's growth, right? And it does take courage to go off on your own, right? To follow the rhythms of what's in your own, right? Rather than following the drum call of somebody else. And that's the truth. What did I write here again? Courage is trusting yourself more than the doubt in the moment. I trust myself. I trust that no matter what card I pull out of this deck, that in that moment, I'm going to find something relevant, something that will impact me and possibly, optimistically, impact somebody else in that experience, in a decision that somebody has to make. But nobody believes in you. Nobody trusts that you could go it alone, that you could do it without them, right? So people say, my way or the highway. It's about believing and having that bravery and that courage and that trust in yourself, right? That you can go down a different highway, right? Your highway, or blaze your own trail. That's the truth. I've done that many times, lots of times. And in the beginning, you're nervous because it's different. And that's what change is all about. Different landscapes, different experiences. But these different landscapes and different experiences, they bring about different understandings, different experience, an experience possibly that could set you on a path in a way that your life could expand in a way that it just magical, right? Something you never thought possible for yourself. But it takes courage, right? It's about overcoming your own fear, overcoming my own fear, my little bit of uncomfortableness, right? Because this is my life. I don't want to come in here and pull a card and just go blank. I don't. I want that card, that powerful word to impact. And I have to trust that in my first perspective, in that first thought, there is an offering from me and an offering for my life, and possibly optimistically, an offering to somebody in that one moment in someone's life where they're having a difficult time in drumming up the courage to do something, right? That they know they should be doing. They know that they can do, right? And that's the truth. Courage is trusting yourself more than the doubt in the moment. And it's about getting to that point where the doubt in the moment doesn't become doubt anymore in that moment. And when that happens, you're the leader in that, right? And it's not follow the leader, it's being the example as my own leader of myself, of my life that I get to create in my choices, in my actions, right? Doing things that I love and not worrying about so much that I'm hurting or I'm betraying or I'm letting people down because I'm not following the leader, right? That I'm doing what I want to do. And I want to wish that on everybody, right? That we should all be living the lives that we could create for ourselves, right? It's in our choices, right? And in those choices and in that determination to show up for yourself, and yes, drumming up the courage in the pushback quite often that comes about doing your own thing. I don't know. I think there's not a better sense of accomplishment, right? Not a better sense of joy. That's the word, joy, because you're pleasing yourself, you're serving yourself, right? And there's nothing better than that because you're trusting, right? You're trusting yourself more than the doubt in any given moment. Yeah, that's pretty amazing because that's a lesson that I needed. And these are words, powerful words. They're just perfect for my first week of pulling the card at the beginning of my life, right? It's just that little bit of cheerleading, that little bit of pep talk that I'm giving myself to say, right, might not be perfect in the beginning, right? But you're trying. And there's something to be said about that. There's something to feel good about in that, in just showing up for yourself and showing up for others, right? Even in the uncomfortableness of what you're not getting right. Because, right, I'm not breaking in the moment, right? And, lots of times the reason we have to drum up the courage is because we feel we're going to fall flat on our faces, that we're going to look the fool, we're going to look like we don't have the smarts to get things done, right? But again, if you don't step forward, there's no chance at all, right? You can lay on that couch with the remote control, but it won't get you anywheres, right? It's having the courage to try, despite what anybody says, what anybody thinks, right? Even if it's meant to make you feel bad because you're not following the leader, right? You are following the leader, right? You're following the leader. You're following the leader, right? That's the courage. That's the courage, you guys. That's the real courage. It's easy to follow other people's directives, right? Go do this. Okay, right? Follow me. Okay. Right? But when you go off on your own, you have to put the roof over your own head, right? You have to feed yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to entertain yourself, right? That's absolutely incredible. That takes courage, right? And everybody should have the responsibility to themselves, in all honesty, to be able to do that, right? Sometimes it's just in the uncomfortableness of getting started, right? That's all it is. It's just about getting started. And once you start moving, things start moving. If you want to sit on the couch with a remote control, you're sitting on the couch with the remote control, and nothing comes from that. You're safe. You're entertained. You're living vicariously through an experience somebody else created for you. I'd much rather create my own, even if it's uncomfortable, because it's only uncomfortable until it's known, till it is comfortable. And once it is comfortable, well, you know what it is. Time. You got to drum up some courage to add a little bit more change into your life. And this is what this is all about, right? It's not a big change, but it's a much needed change. And it's in that example to others, right? That it can be done. In the moment, it might not look like that, but somewheres down the road, in that consistency of showing up for myself, showing up for these powerful words, and showing up for the people that these powerful words may come across their paths, that says something. That says everything. Okay, you guys. I think that's all I've got for you on this word courage. It's only a perspective. I could pull this card tomorrow. It will be a totally different conversation and a different idea, because courage impacts in so many different ways, right? And we all have different capacities, right? You won't find me jumping off those high cliffs in Hawaii that are like 300 meters up in the air. Not a chance. That would take some serious courage, but it's not my thing, right? That's not the direction that I need to go in. Courage for me, well, there's lots of things in my life, in all honesty, that takes courage, that takes the gumption to come in, right? And trust that you're not going to fall on your face. And if you do fall on your face, well, you're just going to come in and you're going to do it again and do it again and do it again until at some point you got it down pat, right? Whatever word, whatever powerful word in this deck of 54 powerful words, it gets pulled. I'm going to trust that I can do it, right? I'm going to trust in the lesson that each one of these words has to offer up in that moment, in that moment, because tomorrow that word might be needed in a different moment. This word, courage, right, will be drummed up in a way that it will be needed in a different perspective, in a different need, with a different person, with a different conversation. And that's the truth. Okay, you guys. Courage. Okay, let me come in. I'm very happy for you, Sydney, to be able to go camping, have a great time, have some fun, enjoy yourself, and make some memories. And I'll be making some videos. I'm going to be doing a little bit of work for my brother-in-law with some promotional material, be helping to set the stage for the bands, 15 different bands. I got to set up my campsite. I'll be working the gate and collecting money. It's a charitable music festival, pig roast, camping experience. It's going to be fun. I have never been to this pig roast. I've been wanting to go for years and years and never been able to have that opportunity to go. right? It's going to be something totally new to me. I'm going to be around more people than I've been around in the entire year, in that close proximity, in conversations, right? I might even take my deck of cards with me and pull cards for people. That would be fun. Okay, you guys. And tonight's third night perspective, powerful word for tonight, Wednesday night on August 5th, is courage. It's a great word. We had great words this week, in all honesty. And if you haven't been into the rest of the lives for the past week, I encourage you to go back in. Let you be the judge at how I'm doing in pulling these cards at the beginning of my lives rather than at the end. And I'm kind of grateful. Well, that clock, I have to put battery in it again. I put dead battery in it. 45 minutes. Okay, 45 minutes. If we're doing my live shows in 45 minutes instead of 55 minutes or an hour and 10 minutes, it works for me too. You guys, that's my good cheer. I'll be back on Sunday night if you want to come in and hang out with us. And I'll be exhausted because I'm coming home on Sunday, but it'll be a good time and there'll be lots of conversations of the experiences and the adventure that I had. And then the following Sunday, I will post a video as a premiere where I can come in and hang out with you guys in the comments on next Sunday. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. And we'll see you when we see you. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Thank you, Eugene.